Hey YouTube, Moose Cow here, back with another customization video. You've probably seen this on several of my YouTube videos in the past, and I've brought it to a few tournaments, but I figured now that I've updated it a little bit, I would focus it on it a little more, and make a video just solely dedicated to it, rather than casually mentioning it. So, anyway, this is one of my favorite customizations that I've made, and it's pretty simple, but it's very helpful. Especially, it helps speed up planning. It helps speed up helping out other players, etc. You know, everything about it I like. I kind of like the joke that this is when you need to remind older players to take their fuel gauge markers. Is my long-running joke. But anyway, one time I was at a Walgreens and I was picking up a prescription, and I just happened to see the pill bottle aisle, and I saw this weekly pill bottle pill reminder thing, right? So it's you know, Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday through Saturday, etc. And I saw it, and I'm like, that's the same yellow as the fuel gauge, the HPG fuel gauges, and I really like using these. And initially I had two full sets of the fuel gauge markers and put those in there, and then after I went to the Atlanta tournament, I won some more, and so I recently glued more and threw them in there. And then so on the inside of each lid, so you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And on the inside of each says how many there are supposed to be, so when you're packing things up, you can tell if something is missing. So there's 6 zeros in here, there's 8 ones, there's 8 twos, there's 8 threes, there's 6 fours, 4 fives, 4 sixes. All right, and the most recent change, besides adding more, is that I did the Lieutenant Dan style recently and added black Sharpie to every one of these markers. You know, and if you're not familiar with them, you throw them down, and that's like how much movement an air unit has left, right? That you throw on top of it. You know, and Lieutenant Dan, after he did his video, I got really jealous of it, and I really wanted to add the black to the sides, and he did a process of doing the Sharpie, then doing paint, and then doing a clear coat. And right now, after going to the St. Louis tournament, I hate gloss generally, and you can see this is pretty glossy. I'm not a fan of gloss. Let me focus on this. I'm not a fan of gloss. And you can see there's definitely gloss, especially with the light shining on it right now. But when I went to the tournament, so that's why I put off doing it, because I wasn't sure about painting. And then I went to the last BBR St. Louis tournament, and I saw Chaplin did this to all the pieces. And after seeing them on the board, let me focus, seeing them on the board, once they're down, you really don't notice that gloss. And so that was enough, in my opinion, to be cool with going ahead and doing it, you know, and not. So I took the time to take a Sharpie and do these several times until there weren't like smears left over. And now all these pieces have the black on the side, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. And if they do get scratched, I can always just pen them in again later. But I really like this modification people have started doing since Lieutenant Dan did it, and I just really like this. I think everyone was right that there's overall, even though these are great, there's too much yellow on the board with them. And then of course they're double-sided, so there's 2 glued together on each one of these, and I really like how the black edges make the yellow less overwhelming, if that makes any sense. It makes it look even more like a fuel gauge. And again, I was hesitant to do it. I put off doing it for a while because I definitely wanted to do it, but I wanted to do it right. But after seeing them at the St. Louis tournament, like again, like kind of glossy when you're holding them right, but once they're on the board, like maybe it's not super apparent in my video with my lighting, but once they're on the board, you really don't, like looking down on it, you're not going to be seeing that gloss standing over it pretty much. So that was that was what made me decide to just go ahead and paint them on. And I can always add like proper paint later on, but for the time being, I just took Lieutenant Dan's modification idea and then just did what Chaplin did and just did the first step. But unlike, he did millions of he drew millions of pieces, millions of pieces for all the different boards and stuff like that, right? So, but I took the time to go through and just make sure that they weren't smeary, and some of these took a few days. I let them dry for several days and took the time to do that personally. But definitely love this. I'm a big fan of fuel gauge markers, being able to tell how many units have what movement left and all that. It saves a lot of time, helps me plan a lot of moves, especially as Japan and all that. I got this German fighter as an example, but anyway, I've been wanting to make more of these for other people, but when I go to Walgreens, maybe it's just my luck because I see the same style, but I don't see the same color. But this is a yellow one, and I'm sure you could find, if you want a different color, you could do a different color, or maybe the yellow ones are out there still. But for whatever reason, when I want to make one from, I've been meaning to make one for Madman, for instance, and I just haven't seen the same yellow. Every time I go to my Walgreens, I don't see the same yellow ones. So I don't know how easy it is to obtain the yellow ones anymore, but this is another customization of mine that I really like. And then on top of that, the best part is, not the best part, but I guess the most functional thing is, a lot of people have these all in a tray together, right? But then you still, even though they're double-sided, you still got to dig through and find the ones you want, right? And here, they're all in their own designated spot. The 6s are going to be here, the 1s are going to be here, etc. And the best part is when you have a player ask for the dice tray, the fuel gauge markers, you can just pass it. You can pass it from one side of the board to the other side of the board very easily. Very easily. It's very easy to pass. Makes a lot of noise handling it, of course, but it's very easy to share with other players. And that's why I like this one, this little pill box of mine quite a bit, and highly recommend doing this as well. You don't have to, obviously. It's just one of my customizations, so figured I'd show it off. You know what to do. Roll the dice better.